You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
All right, so we're with another guest here, and guest, could you tell us who you are and what your organization is?
Yes, my name is Jared Williams, and I'm the Director of Public Relations for a local makerspace here in Houston called Creator Space. And we're down in League City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, Mr. Williams, about all the fascinating gadgets you brought with us today.
Well, how about I tell you about the space first?
That's fine. Let's start there first. I'm just so excited to get into the
Believe me,
nitty-gritty.
I don't blame you. Well, we're a nonprofit makerspace. We do a lot of community outreach. We do two things, and we do two things well. We give you the opportunity to use our tools and equipment, and then we give you the opportunity to learn how to use those tools and equipment. We won't teach you per se, but we will facilitate your learning. So we have 3D printers, laser cutter, woodworking, metalworking, full electronics shop. We have a craft room with things like stamp making and sewing and leather working on occasion. We're even in the process of putting in a full blacksmithing section.
Oh, cool.
Oh yes, hammer, forge, anvil, all sorts of stuff.
I've always felt like that's kind of a lost art, so to speak.
Oh yes, no,
Yeah.
very much so. We're even in the process of getting the plans together to build a power hammer for it.
Really?
Yes, so that should be coming together sometime this summer, and we're very, very excited. Yeah. So the other things that we do, aside from people coming by the space and learning how to do things and playing around with their own creativity, is we do a lot of outreach into the community. This past year in Pasadena, we actually received 300 computers that were just garbage old computers that we reformatted and put free software on. Gave them back to the community, to needy families with school-aged children that didn't have computers, since they have an initiative there to get every single student in Pasadena to be able to have Wi-Fi in their house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they had the backing for the Wi-Fi, but didn't have the backing for the computers, so we helped them out with that. We do a lot of that kind of stuff. We help with local early colleges to do. We had a hacker space day the other day. It was a couple weeks ago with some of the early college students. They'd never taken apart a computer before, so we brought maybe 15 computers and assorted printers and things,
Right.
and just to watch their eyes light up was like, they actually got to tear something apart. They never get to do this.
And I imagine tear it apart and then put it back together where it's functional.
No.
No, okay.
Because all this stuff was just not good anyway.
And there's nothing wrong with that because
Exactly.
it's you don't know until you open the box, so to speak. You got to start somewhere to pull wires and everything. And as I was talking to the nice ladies at the Maker U, one of the first things I remember tearing apart was my parents' television back in the 1970s.
Oh, Lord. Yes.
Tubes and wires and stuff, just wanting to know how it worked. And I've always been that way to like pull things apart. And as time went on, I learned how to put it back together. And
Yes.
so you were saying, tear it apart and okay, it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, the cool thing about that nowadays is it used to be you tear it apart and then put it back together like it was. Nowadays, a lot of stuff you can tear apart and then put it back together in a way you want.
Right.
One of my own personal projects I'm currently working on is actually a 3D printer using the insides of an old DLP TV, the ones
Really?
that project the light with using
Oh,
all the little
nice.
microscopic mirrors. And it's actually going to use light to make things.
That is so cool.
Isn't it that? So it's a resin cast. So it's actually going to do a layer at a time, and then you pull up, and then do a layer at a
Right.
time, all using UV light from the DLP. Isn't that awesome?
I think it's so crazy. I mean, it's not quite Star Trek, but I
It's
mean,
very
but-
close.
But it's like you're heading in that direction.
Oh, yes.
And to see that kind of technology, when I started seeing the 3D printers starting to come out, I was like, wow, this is really awesome. But now they have just gotten so much better, and
Oh, yes.
and just the things that you can do.
Speaking of which,
Okay, a nice segue here.
these are the kind of things that you would see on an older 3D printer.
Okay.
They're kind of blocky, a little,
Basic.
yeah, and a little. If you feel there's a texture there, yeah.
Yeah.
So these kind of things are still really cool. Like to me, this is amazing. I know it's just an ordinary whistle,
Right.
but shake it.
Yeah, it's got the little ball.
The ball
thing.
was printed inside of it, all as one piece.
I've always found that fascinating because some of the detailed 3D printings I've seen, the gears and mechanisms that you can create.
Oh, yes.
And then you just take it off. I guess you do a little blowing thing off of it, and then
Yeah,
you know.
with this one, you actually just stick a little bitty X-Acto knife in there.
Uh-huh.
Just knock out that one little thread, and you have the ball and the whistle.
That is really cool.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
I mean, when you think about it,
And then we went from this basic kind of stuff to things that you can actually use. Like this is a nut and bolt.
Right.
It's actually quite effective. It works very smoothly, and it looks much nicer than some of the older style stuff. And then you actually get to some of the ridiculous things.
Well, before you jump ahead, I was going to just say real
yes,
quick.
yes.
This technology would have been great as a kid, fixing like my toys
Oh,
and,
yes.
and things I would have broke. or-
Some of them can actually print off Lego acceptable pieces.
Oh, really?
Yes. And the cool thing is that nowadays you can actually print in other things too. There's a rubber that you can actually print that one of our members makes phone cases out of.
Really?
Yes, it's actually over
I mean,
there.
I'm jumping ahead, but
Yeah, no, it's,
I wanted to
fully
make sure.
rubberized.
Yeah.
There's another one that actually conductive material.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those, and that's really awesome. I mean, that's
Oh yes, and if you
Mind-blowing.
have dual extruders, which is two of them at the same time, you can actually do one conductive, one non-conductive to actually print your own circuit boards inside of things.
yes. That. I mean, it just like I said, it just blows your mind.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
we're on that path of Star Trek kind of thing. And
Oh yes,
yeah,
no, we're very well. They literally have one on the ISS. Like they have one of these, and they actually just melt the stuff down and use it again.
That's nice.
Yeah, so this is space age technology, literally. Yeah, so it's awesome.
So let's ramp up to the kind of more bizarre things you have, and the cool, cool bizarre is always good.
Oh yes, this is a singing dragon off of Thingiverse.
Okay.
This took about 7 hours. And like, just look at the detail.
And I
on
wanted
that.
to point out here that when I'm looking at like the wings, it looks like a fabric in a way.
Yes.
It has that shimmering fabric look to it that. Like bed sheets or something like that, or just just a nice. And it has, I mean, the detail on it is quite impressive too.
Oh yes.
Even down to the Italians and, I mean, tell us more about this piece. You said Singing Dragon.
Yes, it's off of Thingiverse, the free-to-use website. There's like around 1.5 million things that you can download and print yourself. They also have things for laser cutting and all sorts of different projects. But it's free and open source, and it's amazing what the kind of things people come up with. Like our member didn't come up with this, but it is free and open to the public.
Right.
Just like this. To me, this is just as impressive, if not more so, just because of the level of detail and refinement.
I mean, it's like, immediately when I looked at this, it reminded me of a lamp fixture.
Yeah.
And, but it could easily be a candle holder but I mean,
Well, technically it's a vase, but
or a vase.
it doesn't actually hold water, so
you
yeah.
could put like a flower in it or something.
We want to
like
do a 3D printed flower and actually put it in.
That would be, but the design, I'm looking at the angles of how it's created, and that is impressive.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
2 years ago, this would have been completely impossible on a home machine.
Like
we've come that far in 2 years.
I had to show it for our viewing audience.
Oh yes. And like even the small regular stuff, like this is the same stuff. That's at twice the filament width of this. This is why you can actually see those layers much better than you see these.
But even at seeing the layers on here, it still gives it a very unique look and feel into it. And I mean, it is very very cool.
Oh yeah. Now the cool thing about 3D printers is actually it works in.
Whoop. I bought it.
Trust me, we can make more. It's fine.
It's right under there.
We'll get it at the end.
I just don't want you to step on it.
It'll be fine.
It looks like it's all together still.
I'll blame it on you. It'll be fine.
Okay, good.
The cool thing is there's multiple types of plastic that you can actually print on. ABS, which is basically the stuff that all your plastic car parts are made out of. There's PETG, which is, imagine the crinkly water bottles, the plastic ones. And this one is actually revolutionary. This is PLA. This is actually made out of corn.
Really?
Yes. So this is completely sustainable, doesn't use any petroleum products whatsoever, and it's one of the few plastics that biodegrades.
I'm going to touch that real quick.
Yeah, and it's just
That-
regular
I mean, just-
plastic.
let's see. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, that feels like regular plastic. You know, it's amazing the going back to corn, the many uses that you can use with corn. But
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. You know, I would have never thought that it was a corn,
Yeah.
based product in some
Well,
way.
to me, the fact that it biodegrades, like these will be around for another 1,000 years, so easy.
Right.
This will be 10 to 15 years.
Yes.
That's amazing to
Yeah.
me. Like this.
And that gets into the eco thing that I like too, in the sense that plastic, it's always there unless you deal with it. And,
Yeah.
and I think you were talking about this one right here, right? With plastic bottles.
Yes, you can actually. Some other makerspaces, not us, not yet. Hopefully soon. They can actually melt down plastic bottles and put pigments in them and actually make their own filament like this.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So you're recycling right there in the space.
Mhm. So the recycling point is cool, and then using earth-based products that will biodegrade over a reasonable amount of time
Oh, yeah.
is very cool, because we're using technology and to use what's there that could be used again, and then what is just naturally in nature.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
it's completely sustainable. Like you don't have to, go over, to the Middle East to find oil to actually make this kind of plastic.
It's right in our backyard.
Exactly, literally, yes. Speaking of which,
Oh, okay.
we have one for you.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Unfortunately, it's not one of the PLA ones, but
No,
it's,
but still, I appreciate it. Thank
You're
you so
very
much.
welcome.
We're not ungrateful here.
oh, good. Speaking of, let's see what we have. One of our members just handed me this. You can actually do really cool, intricate things with
Yes,
this.
it's just talking about the gears, and I was talking about it. Oh, wow, that is.
I know.
That looks awesome. That would be so great if it was like a little bit bigger. I mean,
Yeah, it'd
like
be a pencil holder.
A pencil holder,
Yeah.
a pen holder.
And a stand for your iPhone.
Oh, man, that's sweet.
The cool thing is that it's actually long enough so that it can hold an iPad as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's that well
And
counterbalanced.
see, and this speaks volumes as far as what I like about 3D printing is that if you can think it, you can make it.
Oh, yes.
And it's almost like the effect of, well, I have a problem here, and how do I go to somebody to make this? Well, you don't have to. You can just have the 3D printer and
Exactly.
design it. So that's what I like about 3D printing.
I actually had a friend about a year ago, a little over a year ago, that he was really into Gothic design. So every month and a half, 2 months, he would actually completely redo a lot of the stuff in his house. He would redo the shower curtain. What do you call those? The rings, the shower curtain rings. Yeah.
Shower
He would
curtain.
redo those and different things. He had wall sconces with lamps in them, and he would completely redesign those. And he had a 3D printer, and he'd just redo his entire house every few months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when you walked in, you never knew what you could be walking in on.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and he was just a really design kind of guy. The other things that we have in the space, we actually have a laser cutter.
Yes, and we got to see this yesterday.
Oh,
and
yes.
Tell us about this, because I don't want to steal your thunder. Go ahead and.
Yes, this is a personal project of mine, and I made this for a girl for Christmas, who never ended up calling me back. So now I have a nice promotional thing. So what it is a book cover out of one piece of plywood. Yeah, it's called a living hinge. You just cut it into it using a laser cutter. It's kind of hard too with an actual saw, so I would suggest a laser cutter. But yeah, it lets you actually bend both ways, and if you oil it, linseed oil or something similar, one of these books actually lasts you for quite a few years. I've opened and closed this thing maybe a few thousand times. It's only just starting to now crack.
Right.
And I haven't ever oiled it, unfortunately. I really need to.
And now, once again, what's cool about this is that it's wood.
Yeah.
And it's environment. It's a part of the environment, so that it's not one of these things that are going to last thousands of years. That over time it will go back into nature.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's I try to do most of my stuff sustainable as much as I can. My mom is actually an environmental science high school teacher.
Okay.
So I get all this at home too.
So you've been inspired by your mom.
Oh yes, no, very much so.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, she was actually an environmental scientist before the EPA days.
Okay.
Yeah, so way back then, she was one of the ones that wrote those big theses on
Right.
things. Yeah, so I've heard it my entire life. Which I love you, Mom. I'm perfectly fine with it. It's awesome. I'm okay with it.
So you've shown us a lot of great products here today, and the important thing as we kind of wrap things up is to let our audience know where can they find you and your group and any kind of social media. So
Yes, creatorspace.org is our website. It's actually going to have a list of classes and events that are coming up. We have a grand opening because we just moved. We actually are in 4 times the space that we
Okay.
were. Yeah, so we're pretty stoked about it. And our grand opening is on June 3rd, and we're at 120 Park Avenue in League City,
Okay.
right along the railroad tracks, big blue building. So everybody come out. We're going to have a big ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. They made me scale it back, unfortunately. I wanted to have a parade and a 3-day festival, and I wanted to actually have a sky bridge over to the park beside us and
Nice.
everything. But no, they said, no, we can't really do that. So I just scale it back. But we are going to be offering lots of classes. We actually have a class coming up. I don't know if I told you this one.
No.
It's a 3-part class.
Okay.
Did-
No,
did-
I know, but this is a good time to talk about it.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. We're very, very excited. And by we, I mean me and one other guy. It's going to be a 3-part class. The first part is going to be one class weekly. The first one, you actually build a small circuit from scratch. You solder in all the individual electronic components while finding out what each one does. You're getting a basic electronic components knowledge. The next week, you're actually going to take that, connect it to an Arduino, and learn how to have the Arduino adjust the circuit board. Talk to it and get
Right.
information from it. Then the third week, which is the most exciting week, of course, we're actually going to take all that and put it inside some sort of robot with servos, and you're going to make a robot from scratch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like 100% from the ground up, built robot by you.
Well, that just sounds really cool. So.
Oh, yes. And the entire 3-week thing, don't quote me on this, even though you're quoting me on this.
You're live on. I mean, you're going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we're trying to get the entire 3-week course below $100.
Oh wow, that's very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're a nonprofit. We don't, for the class, like I'm teaching one of the classes, I'm not taking any money myself. We're all volunteers. We all just do this because we love it.
Right.
So we can actually do things for, right at cost.
Okay.
Yeah, so it keeps the cost for the consumer down. Even though I don't really like the word consumer, I like the word learner. But
Right. Hair, tomato kind of thing.
exactly, like we don't teach. So
Right.
We are not about teaching. What we're about is helping you learn.
Right. Wouldn't that be on the lines of mentoring, though? I mean, you're is that another fine line too, as well?
It is another fine line. Mentoring's to me more of a social aspect as opposed to learning's more of on an individual basis. Like you
Okay.
can have a classroom of people, but only half those people are really going to learn on average. Because not everything sparks everyone the same way.
Sure.
So we're here to help spark that. Yeah. We're here to get that creative juices going, but you have to actually be part of it yourself.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no point.
Exactly. Well, we appreciate you stopping by, and we still got another day and a half with you, and because you're
Oh,
right
yes.
across from us.
Oh, yes. No,
And-
we see you all the time.
And we'll probably be swinging by with more video as we, broadcast Comic Palooza 2017. So thanks for
We're
stopping by.
perfectly okay with that. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Oh, thank you.